The Nebraska Cornhuskers and their quarterback, Dylan Raiola, will host the Michigan Wolverines at Memorial Stadium. We are fired up for this Big Ten matchup. Finally, we get to see these teams get after it. I gotta say, we have college football playoff implications. Michigan 2-1. They cannot afford another loss, especially in the conference. In Nebraska, with the schedule and how that thing shakes out, they absolutely can be in a position to make a run, wind up something like 10-2, 11-1, if they can come out with a home win against Bryce Underwood, Sherrone Moore, and company. Now, that is exactly where we're going to start, because Sherrone Moore will not be coaching in this game. It's his team. He's the head coach, but he will not be coaching on the sidelines for this one. The self-imposed, as well as NCAA suspension, he won't be on the sidelines. That is a huge impact. But who they do likely get back for this one is in the back end. Their quarterback of the defense, Rhule Moore. Great safety player, veteran. Obviously, Derek Moore in the front has been a good player. They have Rashawn Benny up there. Barham, great players all around that defense and that secondary, but getting Moore back adds an element to that defense, the ability to limit the big plays. I think that they play a lot better against Oklahoma defensively if Rhule Moore's on the field. They needed him for that game, didn't have him available, but they will have him in a must-win against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now, for Nebraska, it all starts with the ability to run the football. This has to be the way the team comes out and does it against Michigan. They did it great, over 5 yards a carry, and their matchup against Houston Christian. It needs to look a lot like that when you play Michigan and a quarterback with the ability of Bryce Underwood to get outside the pocket, to scramble around and extend plays, to be able to throw the ball as accurately, I think, already as anybody as a true freshman on the run. A remarkable release. Bryce Underwood is so talented. Nebraska just needs to see that kid touch the ball as little as possible and run the football very well. Make it easy on your starting quarterback, a lot like how this game felt like it was over in the first quarter, jumping out to a 17-point lead. Keep your quarterback efficient. Get him easy completions. Allow Raiola to build confidence. Now, what will help is you're able to establish something a bit more firmer. We saw so many different guys come up with receptions in this game. Huge completions to Dane Key, Cortez Mills Jr. They had great days for Nebraska in this game. They will need to do the same thing. Michigan's defense is so stout between those two tackles are so tough. Running the football right up the middle is very difficult to do against Michigan. Even without Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, they still have a ton of returning production. Really think that Nebraska, when it comes down to it, will have to live and die by running the football and getting Dylan Raiola completions that he'll be able to get early on in the game to establish confidence so that they can get the game plan a little bit more expanded and take their shots on the outside once they have their one-on-ones. Really think that Michigan comes out, they have the safety down, and they're loading the box. 7 guys in the box, making Raiola pull it out and throw the football to the outside, making him beat him. This thing is at Nebraska now. All of the pressure is on them to win this game at home. Tougher to do against a team like Michigan, who will have their backs against the wall a few weeks ago in that loss against Oklahoma. And that is where we will break down in the sense of Michigan and what we're expecting from them offensively. Pretty nice performance from Jordan Marshall when everyone was thinking that it was just Justice Haynes in the backfield. A pretty dang good day running the football for Bryce Underwood. That's what we're talking about. Get this kid on the edge running the football, using his legs as a strength. He's dynamic as a runner, 6'4", 230 pounds with great speed. A big body like that going down the field. Hard guy to tackle. He will create opportunities for them running the ball, because what does a quarterback run do? It creates an extra blocker in the run game. I say you got to give Bryce Underwood 15 carries in this football game, leaning on that, doing what they do best, which is shortening the game and running the football. Same exact thing as Raiola. You got to get your young quarterback completions, as many as you can early enough so that you can start taking your shots, so that you can get Samaj Morgan going. Now, it obviously is key in this one to talk about turnovers, because turnovers are very hard to predict. They're the hardest statistic to come up with. Like, who's going to turn the football over? What, because the team has a good front? Everybody's got a good front in the Big Ten, and it's being able to stop the run. It has an identity that they'll be able to run the football. Coming up with turnovers is hard to do. I can't come out here and say I expect Raiola or Bryce Underwood to turn the football over in key spots, but what I will say is that I have more faith in Michigan's defense than I do in Nebraska's, even though that this game is on the road. What we saw in the game plan against Oklahoma, that they really stuck to the run, that gives me a lot of faith that they can do the same thing, that if they're down 3 points, if they're down 7 points on the road against Nebraska, they're not going to go away from it and just force the ball in Bryce Underwood's hands. They want to protect their young quarterback and not put him in tough situations where it's all on him to make throws down the field. That's it. It's not that hard once you break it all down. Protect your young quarterback, have the game tight in the third quarter, fourth quarter, playing close, running the football well. That's the identity Michigan has had, and believe that they can have a lot of success. Now, the outside. Edge has to go to the Nebraska Cornhuskers. It really does. That offense has just appeared more explosive early in the year. Have they played a competitive opponents like Oklahoma? No. In all likelihood, Oklahoma is easily a top 10 defense in college football, and I right now have them in my top 5 for defenses. Is there a crazy elite player on that defense? No, it doesn't really appear to be that way. It's just that they have 9, 10, 11. They rotate really well, that they have guys on every level, and that Michigan did not want to throw too much on Bryce Underwood's plate. All of those factors have me thinking that this staff is prepared for a game against Nebraska in a big moment, that they will be able to come up with what they need to get their young quarterback going. Now, as far as the defense and how they will hold up against Dylan Raiola, besides being able to stack the box, you have to find a way to get pressure on that quarterback. And I'm even fine if they have a deep shot play and they have 1 or 2 of those down the field. They're able to pick up those chunks because typically they can play some pretty good defense in the red area. They're able to come up with the stops that they need to. Michigan historically has always had good defenses. And once it gets a little tighter, there's less area to work with in the red area. Once you get into the red zone, they'll be able to get the stops that they need to. As far as a lean so far in this game, I've got Michigan. I think that Michigan comes up with a win 24-20 on the road. Now, I'm curious what you have to say, what you think that the final result will be. I can understand if you like Nebraska at home and that it might be too much once again. But remember, this is not a night environment. Afternoon, that does play a factor in it as well. The head coach not being there for Michigan, but I'll go to that. I believe that Underwood possesses an athletic ability that will play a larger role than what Raiola has, and Michigan getting Rod Moore back immediately adds an extra player in that back-end secondary that will have a factor that will allow them to pull out this win as long as they attack and just keep attacking. It's okay. You give up a couple of chunk plays to the outside for Raiola, be able to hold up inside the 20-yard line and just keep running the football. Keep your young quarterback out of 3rd and long. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. We make college football, NFL content every single day. So fired up that football is back. Full steam ahead. Big Ten football is here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Appreciate you. Best player in college football. That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic. Josh Blunder. Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Blunder. To the 40, 35, 30. Espinosa to the 20.